Do you know that amazing feeling when you meet someone, and from the very first moments of communication, it feels like you've known them forever? That sensation, as if you're talking to an old friend, even though you're meeting this person for the first time in your life. Does it sound familiar? When your heart starts beating faster and your inner voice whispers, "This is it, the one." Each of us has experienced such feelings at least once. It can happen anywhere, in line for coffee, at a business meeting, while traveling, or even online. Suddenly, an invisible thread of understanding emerges between two people, something that's hard to explain logically. The conversation flows effortlessly as if you're continuing a discussion started many years ago. You finish each other's sentences, laugh at the same jokes, and it feels like your thoughts are in perfect harmony. Sometimes these meetings happen at the most unexpected moments of our lives. When we least expect it, fate presents us with a wonderful gift, a meeting with someone who seems to reflect a piece of our soul. It could be a future friend, a partner, a mentor, or just a companion who appears at the right moment to share an important lesson or offer support. Perhaps right now, you're remembering such a person in your life, someone with whom you felt an instant connection, an inexplicable sense of closeness and understanding. And you know what? There's nothing random about this. Each such meeting is a small miracle that doesn't happen by chance. Let's explore together why fate gives us these special encounters and what profound meaning they carry in our lives. Before diving into the deep meaning of soulmates, let's figure out what this phenomenon really means. Many believe that somewhere in the world, there's one person destined for us. But reality is much more interesting and richer. Soulmates are people with whom we feel a deep internal connection, those who help us uncover new facets of ourselves. Why do some meetings feel predestined? It's not about magic or mysticism, although sometimes we want to believe that. In reality, we attract people into our lives who resonate with our inner state, our current needs, and aspirations. It's like tuning a radio receiver. When we are on a certain wavelength, we meet those who broadcast on the same frequency. It's important to understand that we can have multiple soulmates. These are not only romantic partners, but also friends, teachers, and even casual acquaintances who enter our lives exactly when we need them. Each of them brings a unique lesson, a special kind of wisdom. One might teach us self-love, another courage, and a third the art of letting go. Sometimes we meet a soulmate and feel an instant recognition. Other times, this connection unfolds gradually, like a flower bud. And you know what? Both scenarios are beautiful and natural. The main thing is to be open to these encounters, not to try to force them or, conversely, avoid them. Each such meeting is a gift from fate, helping us become more whole and understand ourselves better. Have you ever wondered why some meetings happen at specific moments in our lives? The great psychologist Carl Jung called this synchronicity, a remarkable coincidence of events connected by meaning rather than cause and effect. It's as if the universe were assembling a puzzle, where each piece appears at just the right time. Imagine you're going through a difficult period, seeking answers to important questions, and suddenly, you meet someone who has gone through a similar experience and can share their story. This isn't a coincidence. Our inner readiness for certain meetings creates a kind of magnetic field that attracts the right people into our lives. It's like setting an internal compass that guides us to significant encounters. Often, soulmates appear at turning points in our lives. When we are on the verge of important changes, when we need support or a new perspective on a situation, it's like someone suddenly appears with a candle in a dark room. Their light helps us see the path. Sometimes a short conversation or a single meeting is enough to gain important insight or support. Our readiness for the meeting plays a key role. When we are open to new experiences, when we aren't afraid to be vulnerable and sincere, we create space for deep connections. It's like tuning an antenna. The clearer the signal, the clearer the message. And each such meeting, each soulmate, is a message that helps us understand ourselves and our path better. Behind the instant recognition of a soulmate lie deep psychological mechanisms. Our brain stores countless memories, emotions, and experiences that form certain patterns of perception. When we meet someone whose energy, values, and experiences resonate with ours, that feeling of deep connection and understanding arises. It's like two musical instruments starting to play in unison. Between people, an emotional resonance emerges. the ability to feel and understand each other without words. Have you noticed how sometimes just one glance is enough to understand what another person is thinking? This is our emotional memory at work, which instantly reads and recognizes a soulmate. At the core of such recognition lies a remarkable combination of our values, life experiences, and inner aspirations. Imagine each of us as a unique mosaic made up of countless pieces. When we meet someone whose mosaic forms a similar pattern, a sense of deep connection arises. This doesn't mean we have to be identical. On the contrary, differences often make the connection especially valuable. Our subconscious plays an important role here. It gathers thousands of tiny signals, gestures, intonations, expressions of the eyes, and creates a complete picture. That's why we sometimes feel a connection with someone even before we start talking. This isn't mysticism. It's the work of our powerful emotional intelligence, which helps us find those who can become an important part of our life story. Each meeting with a soulmate is an opportunity for inner growth and development. Such people appear in our lives as teachers, helping us see ourselves from a new perspective and uncover hidden potential. Sometimes these lessons come through joy and inspiration, and sometimes through challenges and difficulties. But each of them is invaluable for our development. Interestingly, some significant connections can be temporary. It's like fellow travelers on a train. They are with us only as long as necessary to convey an important message or help us through a certain stage of the journey. And there's a special wisdom in this. Not all soulmates are meant to stay with us forever. Some fulfill their mission and leave, leaving us changed and enriched with new experiences. Think of someone who came into your life for a short time but left a deep mark on your soul. Perhaps it was a casual conversation in a cafe that helped you see a situation from a new angle, or a colleague on a project whose belief in you helped unlock your talents. Such encounters often become turning points in our lives. Soulmates are a kind of catalyst for change. They hold up a mirror to us, allowing us to see our strengths and areas for growth. Through communication with them, we learn to understand ourselves better, becoming more aware and whole. And even if such a person leaves our life, their influence remains with us, helping us move further along our path of development. Let's talk about how to recognize a meeting with a soulmate. It's not always obvious at first, but there are certain signs that help us understand the uniqueness of such a meeting. First and foremost, there's an inexplicable sense of comfort and safety around the person, even if you've just met. You feel as though you can be yourself without wearing your usual masks. Another important sign is a deep mutual understanding, without the need for lengthy explanations. You can sit in silence together, and that silence feels comfortable. Or conversely, you can talk for hours, moving from one topic to another, always finding new points of connection. It's important not to confuse a genuine connection with mere infatuation or a temporary fascination. A true soulmate accepts you entirely, with all your strengths and flaws. Here's a real-life story. Maria worked at a large company and often felt insecure. One day at a conference, she met Alex, who worked in a completely different field. They started chatting during a coffee break, and unexpectedly discovered that they were both going through a similar life crisis. Their brief conversation turned into hours of discussion. Alex shared his experience of overcoming difficulties, and this meeting helped Maria find the strength for significant changes in her life. They never saw each other again, but that encounter became a turning point for both of them. Soulmates often appear unexpectedly and don't always stay for long, but they always leave a mark on our lives, helping us grow and develop. The key is to be attentive to such meetings and trust your inner voice, which tells you, this is a special person on your path. In recent years, scientists have become increasingly interested in how deep human connections are formed. Research shows that when we meet someone with whom we feel a special bond, amazing chemical processes occur in our bodies. Our brain releases special substances, oxytocin, often called the trust hormone, and serotonin, responsible for the feeling of happiness. What was once considered merely a romantic idea about soulmates now finds scientific explanation. When we interact with someone who is spiritually close to us, our heart rhythms can synchronize, and our brainwaves begin to operate in a similar rhythm. This creates that very feeling of unity and deep understanding that we experience when meeting a soulmate. Sociologists note an interesting pattern. Deep connections are more likely to arise between people who are at similar stages in life or going through similar challenges. This explains why we sometimes meet a soulmate at a specific moment in our lives. When we undergo significant changes, we become more open to encounters with those who can support us on this path. But the most surprising thing is that science confirms that even a short period of time is enough to form a deep connection. Studies show that sometimes just a few minutes of sincere communication can create a stronger emotional bond than years of superficial contact. This explains why some chance encounters leave such a deep mark on our memory and change our lives. Every encounter in our life happens for a reason. Even if you feel lonely now or think you haven't met your soulmate yet, remember, everything happens at the right time. Each of us is walking our unique path, and important meetings will undoubtedly happen when we're ready for them. Being open to new relationships is like leaving the door slightly ajar for a miracle. You don't need to actively search for a soulmate or try to speed up the meeting. It's more important to learn to be honest with yourself and others, not to be afraid to show your true feelings and thoughts. This openness and honesty attract people into our lives who resonate with our soul. Remember that soulmates are not just romantic partners. They can be friends, teachers, casual acquaintances, or even people you only interact with online. Each of them enters your life with a specific purpose: to support you, teach you something important, or help you see the world in a new way. And each such meeting is a gift from destiny that enriches us spiritually. Do you know what the real miracle is? It's that right now, as you're reading these lines, there are people somewhere who are destined to become an important part of your story. They too are searching, growing, developing, and moving toward you. And when the time comes, your paths will cross. In the meantime, be yourself, love life, keep growing, and believe in the miracle of meetings, because each of us deserves to meet those who understand our heart without words. And finally, dear friends, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for spending this time with me. If this topic touched your heart, if you found something important for yourself here, subscribe to our channel. Here we talk about what matters most: the soul, connections, and what makes our lives special. Click the bell to not miss new videos. And in the comments, share your stories about encounters with soulmates. Perhaps your experience will help others believe in the miracle of such meetings. Until next time, take care of yourselves and your loved ones.